पता है आप कितने लकी हो, टाइम पे पैसा, आपकी मर्जी की शिफ्ट, पर आप लोगों की तो आदत ही बस कंप्लेंट करनी है।
आदत तो बस चुप रहने का है मैडम।
Hello. I am Pratiksha and you're listening to Do I Like It? A Quint production where we review anything and everything under the sun. And in this episode, I will tell you if I like Zwigato. Zwigato is Nandita Das's latest directorial, and I love Nandita Das's films, the one she starred in, the one she directed. I mean, I don't think I've watched a lot of films that she has directed, but every time I've seen her on screen, her choice of films, everything has been magnificent. So obviously, इस बार भी उनका choice of subject is beautiful. She has decided to this time kind of talk about the plight and the troubles of people who work as food delivery people or food delivery partners, or as, I mean, if you want to use the formal term, gig workers. Now, does the film do justice to these food delivery gig workers? That's what we're going to find out. Kapil Sharma plays Manas. He, with his family, I think, moved to Orissa from Jharkhand, if I'm not wrong. His family consists of his wife, जो है Shahana Goswami का character, Pratima, and their 2 little children, and also his ailing mother. अब obviously they have shifted to a big city from their village. वो कहते हैं कि वो गांव से बड़े शहर में आए हैं. So that means that they now have a lot more pressure financially. अब इसमें क्या होता है कि Manas has been laid off from his job as a factory में. He was a manager, I think. और अब वो Zwigato नाम की कंपनी में, very cheeky name choice by the way, Zwigato नाम की कंपनी में फूड डिलीवरी वर्कर की तरह काम करते हैं. But before I jump more into this, I want to tell you that you can check out our other episodes from this series as well as our other podcasts from the Quint on our website or wherever you get your podcasts from. Continuing on this journey, time and again हम देखते हैं कि लोग different food delivery apps को boycott कर रहे हैं या criticize कर रहे हैं because the workers' conditions aren't good. We see so many media platforms have put out kind of interviews with workers, mostly anonymous, who talk about the stresses of their job, their plight, essentially things like health insurance that they don't have because they're not considered as quote-unquote employees. They're considered as gig workers or partners, as it is called. And on that note, the companies, the multi-million dollar companies, aren't doing much to alleviate their concerns and not doing much to address them. And हर 2 दिन में डिलीवरी टाइम छोटा हो जाता है कि अब आपके घर में आधे घंटे में पहुंच जाएगा, अभी आपके घर में 20 मिनट में पहुंच जाएगा, अभी आपके घर में 10 मिनट में पहुंच जाएगा, अभी आपके घर में हम डायरेक्टली रेस्टोरेंट से फेंकेंगे तो आप कैच कर लेना बालकनी में. दैट इज द ओनली थिंग लेफ्ट टू हैपन. एंड दैट्स द थिंग, इवन एज कंडीशंस वर्सन वी हियर न्यूज ऑफ डिलीवरी वर्कर्स हु गेट इनटू फेटल एक्सीडेंट्स ट्राइंग टू डू देयर जॉब. एंड all of this is covered in Zwigato. Not, of course, the fatal accident part, but we do get to see how high pressure the job is. Ki haan, you can be like, oh, they can rest, they can just sit down and rest, but they can't because they keep getting orders. And if they decline more than a couple of orders, maybe it'll affect their rating. Ya agar ye jo customer is right wala idea hai, which is honestly the worst nightmare for people in the service industry. Like they don't deserve that. What do you mean customer is always right? I have seen people get into random arguments with people who work in the service industry, and 9 out of 10 times the customer is not right. But that's the idea that these big companies have कि the customer is always right. तो customer के एक complaint से rider का ID block हो जाएगा या rider के खिलाफ एक्शन लिया जाएगा, blah blah blah. Obviously, it is not true that all complaints are false. There have been cases where women, for example, have spoken up about how sometimes food delivery workers come by and they send them messages on their phone. But I feel like having a blanket statement of, oh, the customer is always right, or oh, this person is always right, is always going to affect some people adversely. Because they're 2 hugely different types of complaints. Like women complaining that, oh, this person is harassing me or this person is texting me constantly is different from someone being like, oh, the driver refused to come to my door and asked me to come 5 steps and take the food, and that's why I'm giving him 1 star. Those are 2 very different things, and we see the second part mostly in this film. At the same time, Nandita Das has also captured other things like political dissent or like caste differences. क्योंकि जब ऐसे job के लिए सब साथ में जाते हैं तो the people who essentially belong to oppressed castes get lesser opportunities than others. And this happens very blatantly. ऐसा नहीं कोई कुछ छुपा के कुछ कर रहा है. सबको पता है कि क्या हो रहा है. And this is also something we see in the film. We also see how people in power try to stifle voices of dissent. That is also shown in the film. साथ ही साथ it is so nice to see that the film is shot in Orissa and everyone is speaking in Hindi and Oriya. क्योंकि बहुत बार क्या होता है ना कि फिल्में ऐसे कहीं पे सेट कर देते हैं but everyone around is speaking in the same language. They're either speaking in Hindi or they're speaking in English. It's nice to see the regional language make its presence felt in a film that is shot in so and so place. And that's so refreshing. It was so nice. What a cute, adorable touch. What an important touch to have in your film. Nandita Das also jumps into gender imbalance. We see how even though Manas knows that maybe 2 paychecks coming into the house is only going to be better for him, he would rather shift into a smaller home, right, which is obviously going to be an inconvenience for his family, rather than let his wife work, which she willingly wants to do. और ये सब भी नंदिता दास ने Zwigato में सारा का सारा explore किया है. Zwigato as a film is one of those films that seem like they're trying to do too much, but once you look deep, you realize that they're not trying to do too much. Too much is genuinely happening and they're just trying to show it. And for that reason, Zwigato is such a great watch. So finally, do I like it? Yeah, I really like the film. I think Shahana Goswami is so brilliant in this film. That actor, floored. I am floored by her. Like, watching her on screen is magical. Like, you can't look away. वो कुछ बोल रही है तो you have to listen. Oh, it's beautiful. And if you're wondering how Kapil Sharma fares, he's not a bad actor, but he has a long way to go. But it's nice to see him do these kind of roles. Like, we've seen him do comedy, because he has a whole show. So it's nice to see him in a different kind of role. It's a good effort, but he has some ways to go till he becomes like a great or good actor. But that was all for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Do I Like It is a Quint production, executive produced by Ritu Kapoor and Shelly Walia, hosted by me, Pratiksha Mishra, produced and edited by Anjali Palod, with music from Zwigato and BMG Production. See you next time.
You were listening to the Quint's podcast.